Hello kind people of YouTube and welcome back to another video. My regular news update is coming later today, but I just wanted to make a special video to talk about XRP for a moment. And XRP has been very surprising this month because as we have seen the entire crypto market go through a massive crash, lose over 1/4 of its value in a week, we see XRP not just outperforming most other coins, but if you look at the monthly view here, you see that right now at 43.9 cents, it is trading at just about the same amount it was trading in the first half of the month. So if we're looking at the 31-day view here at the monthly view, we're not even seeing a drop for XRP in a time where everyone else has been going through massive drops. We've also seen XRP claw number 2 on the leaderboards on CoinMarketCap, so the list by market cap. Not just claw it from Ethereum, but it has been above Ethereum for about a week now with $4 billion distance between them. This is not set to change anytime soon. It used to be that one bad day for XRP or one good day for Ethereum could flip them back, but this is now looking like a much more permanent thing. So what is going on here? The entire market is doing terribly, and even today where XRP did also drop, we're seeing it drop very little, 1.39%. Aside from Litecoin and Monero, everyone else dropped more today, in the top 10 that is. So what is going on here? I have this article here from CryptoVest. Of course, all the articles linked in the description as always if you want to read them yourself. It's putting forward 5 reasons. I'm not completely convinced by all of them, and some of them are a bit confusing to me, but let's look at these. Let's look at this what this article is putting forward here. And the first reason is separate communities. It is somewhat misleading to state there is one unified crypto community. There are many projects with their own fanbase and traders, but the Ripple community and XRP owners are in a separate group, not connected to projects based on mining, tokens, or the running of a distributed blockchain. The Ripple community has been the punchline of many jokes from other coin owners and Bitcoin maximalists, but in the current sell-off, XRP owners are, at least for now, having the last laugh. It seems like they are not quite ready to sell, possibly expecting the blockchain solutions to prove themselves non-viable and lift XRP to the top of digital assets and decentralized solutions. So this first argument I think is pretty much spot on. Now XRP is of course a token that is running on a distributed ledger, but it is very much separate in many ways from the rest of the market. Now a lot of coins, especially in the top 10, have direct connections to other coins. Bitcoin Cash of course is a hard fork of Bitcoin. Then we have some coins that are connected by apps or smart contracts working on multiple blockchains together, or that are just doing very similar things, so when one of them drops, others tend to drop as well. XRP is almost completely separate because it was not created in the same way as a lot of the others. It has completely different use cases. XRP is not meant to be a replacement for fiat currency. XRP is not meant to be a platform for smart contracts and dApps. XRP is not supposed to be a privacy coin, so it's very different from most of the other major coins. Only Stellar Lumens is similar in major ways there. So it makes sense that it would move relatively independently. Now in the past we have not seen that independent movement, but XRP has been having more and more of its own movement completely unrelated to the rest of the markets. It has pretty much decoupled from the rest of the markets mostly now, which is a very new development, and that is how it managed to claw its way to number 2 doing a market drop. That was, for a lot of people that was very unexpected, but I've been talking about this for about 2 months or so on this channel now. We have seen XRP move more and more independently from the rest of the markets. And this in part is definitely to the community behind it, being in many ways a separate community. There's a lot of bad blood in the crypto community. A lot of people hate XRP, hate Ripple, and hate anyone who doesn't hate XRP and Ripple. And on the other side, a lot of XRP supporters hate every other cryptocurrency and their supporters. I personally do not understand that hatred. I get some of the reasons some people dislike Ripple and XRP. I personally don't agree with them, but I understand them. What I don't understand is this this us versus them mentality, this hatred, this bad blood within the community. But it does exist, and with that we have essentially two separate communities here with an overlap rather than one community. Number 2 here, price popped up. As part of the hodl culture, the Ripple Foundation has effectively locked in most of the supply, offering no incentive to sell. The current behavior of the asset is the perfect incentive not to release new XRP on the market. While some investors bought at a very high price, others received it as an airdrop and can afford to hold on. Now I'm a bit confused about the airdrops here, because I'm pretty sure there have been XRP airdrops, but I don't think they were particularly big. I think those were pretty minor, and I think Huobi gave away like 1 or 2 XRP to its users. But it's not like people got thousands of XRP in airdrops, I believe. So this is a bit surprising to me. Pretty sure almost everyone who holds XRP has bought those XRP. Then they cite the Binance effect here. A large part of XRP trading happens on Binance and ZB.com. This concentration allows for bot activity to amplify our trading effects. In the case of XRP, a recent rally increased prices, helping the asset preserve some of the gains. XRP is still up more than 480% since November last year, while other leading coins are underwater. Now, this is at this point, I was wondering what the actual point of this article was, because this is just a veiled attack on XRP, because this is implying that a huge part of the activity that is propping up XRP, as opposed to other coins, is bot activity. Now, we have very little reason to believe this. Now, of course, there is a bot activity, there is fake activity going on for all major coins and on most, if not all, major exchanges. That is a simple fact. But there's very little reason to believe that more of this is happening for XRP than for other coins. And there is a very simple reason why there is now more XRP activity than there was last year. Because XRapid is live. XRapid is a network on which the XRP token is being used actively every single day by banks for remittance, for liquidity. Of course, there is more activity with XRapid live and being in use by multiple banks for multiple payment corridors than there was a year ago, when there was no real use case for XRP yet, when XRP was just one of many tokens that didn't really do anything special. Now we have XRapid running, and now there is more activity. That makes perfect sense. November 2017, that was when there was purely speculation essentially happening with XRP. So of course the activity is up. And I think the 480% here is about the price itself. But the price is up 480% since November, since last year. But talking about the amplified trading effects, very little reason to believe this is happening due to bots. Now, a small part of it will almost certainly be bots, as is for any coin. But there's a very simple reason there's more activity of XRP, and there's also a very simple reason there's less XRP circulating, because those are locked up for various purposes. So there's completely clear explanations here that you don't need to go into conspiracy theories for. Next up, delayed reaction. The price of XRP is not in any way guaranteed. It is possible that for now XRP is only experiencing a delayed reaction. XRP is pressured by regular traders, and while the community and fans may not sell, speculative trades are always a possibility. XRP has still not moved up, it's simply held stable for longer, however a crash cannot be ruled out. This is perfectly true, this is completely true. While the core XRP community isn't likely to be swayed by this market crash, speculators and regular traders might very well be. And then last here, safe haven buying, which is a completely new narrative about the XRP token that has emerged in the last couple weeks. With other coins dropping in price, XRP offers an alternative investment. Volumes rising to the equivalent of 1.3 billion indicate that buying is indeed happening, but it remains to be seen whether the scale is large enough to stave off a capitulation event. In any case, while XRP tries to position itself as different from blockchain projects, it is highly dependent on the crypto-related ecosystem of exchanges, wallets, traders and services, still with no separate path for investment. Now, XRP has pretty much turned into the mysterious store of value that people are looking for in the crypto world. Now, if you've been paying any attention, especially to Bitcoin maximalists, when asked what Bitcoin's use case, what its point is, what it does better than other coins, because it's not as scalable, it's not as fast, it doesn't have as many technological possibilities, you can't claim that it does any of those things better than any other coin. So instead, the claim is that Bitcoin is the store of value in the crypto world. Bitcoin is the safest investment. Now, of course, the existence of stablecoins pretty much pops that bubble right there. But with XRP being so much more stable than Bitcoin in the last month or so, you have to start wondering if Bitcoin really is the best safe haven buying, or if you're not going to go for a stablecoin, might XRP offer more stability than Bitcoin right now? Now, I'm unsure whether the store of value argument is particularly valid for any cryptocurrency at the moment. As much as we don't want it to be that way, cryptocurrencies are still much more volatile than many other investments. If you're looking for a store of value, if you're looking for an investment where you can be reasonably certain that, that you won't lose a significant part of your investment, cryptocurrencies are simply not the right choice right now. Now, comparatively to fiat currencies that are crashing, cryptocurrencies are absolutely more stable and a safer place to put your money. But as it currently stands, a lot of traditional financial investments are simply better options if you want a safe haven, if you want a stable store of value. Now, this isn't to say that a cryptocurrency, even Bitcoin, could not become that in the future. Now, the only reason something like gold is considered a store of value is because we as a society, as traders, as the market decide that it should be. That same thing can absolutely happen to Bitcoin. In many ways, it offers a similar kind of investment in that the total number is limited and that causes many people to see a certain value in there. And if enough people decide that Bitcoin should be a store of value, Bitcoin will be a store of value. But whether that is a good use case is another question. But right now, it is looking like XRP offers the most stability. And if you don't wanna see massive drops, like the 40% a day that we've seen Bitcoin Cash drop, then XRP right now is very attractive. But I want to add additional reasons for all of this. So some of these were convincing, not all of them, but I think one of the core reasons is here the first one, separate communities, because we are pretty much certain at this point that the catalyst for this crash was Bitcoin Cash's hard fork, Bitcoin Cash dropping in value like crazy from about $600 to about $200 in just a week or so. And even today you see it dropping 6.78%, where the rest of the market remained relatively stable, or only dropped about 1 or 2%. And Bitcoin Cash dragged other coins that were closely related to it with it along, most notably Bitcoin, but also Litecoin is of course closely based on Bitcoin as well and was meant to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold initially. So it makes sense that those were hit pretty hard here. So when Bitcoin Cash dropped down, it first dropped the coins associated with it, and there is very little association between Bitcoin Cash and XRP, of course. So that is one of the core reasons here. But we also see XRP, or rather Ripple, the company behind XRP, actively expanding their use of the XRP token. And we have seen some rumors in the last couple of days as well that are very promising if you believe them. So those could also be separate reasons why XRP is holding relatively steady when the rest of the markets are going down, 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 down. Here, I actually don't remember if I talked about this on the channel already. I believe I have, but Ripple just added the 5th largest Southeast Asian bank to RippleNet. Now, RippleNet is capable of using the XRP token, but doesn't have to use it. We don't quite know if it is being used. But we have these great news for Ripple and XRP coming out all the time. And these could be staving off a market crash for XRP. Because what are you going to do? You see the markets crashing. But at the same time, you see the coin you invested in, XRP, and the company behind XRP, Ripple, getting such big news that massive banks are getting on their network, potentially using the XRP token. Are you going to sell? I think you're not going to sell. I think most people under these circumstances are not going to sell, because this is just looking so good for the future of the token. Even if it might drop a bit in the short term, these are long-term things that will mean more activity on the network, that will mean more use of the XRP token, that will mean the trading volume increasing like crazy, that will mean a lot of tokens locked away for use in this, which further usually increases the price, because of course when the supply is lower and the demand is still up, that increases the price. And we have even more here. We have rumors that Ripple might be working with Bank of America. Now, I personally don't think these rumors are well substantiated at all, but this is what is being This is what is being discussed in the Ripple sphere on social media, on Twitter, on YouTube. If we look at this article, for over a week now, many rumors and words have been spreading that the second lead for banks in the US, Bank of America, is closing into blockchain adoption and Ripple is acting as a bridge to reach the target. Now, the reason for this rumor seems to be that Bank of America is trying to work on blockchain adoption and that Ripple is the biggest firm for banks to use. That seems to be the extent to which this rumor is substantiated. I don't believe we have any reason to believe that they're actually working together, besides just the fact Bank of America is looking for someone to help with blockchains. Ripple is a company that can help with that. But right now, for the price, it doesn't matter if it's true or not, it just matters what people think. And a lot of people are excited, a lot of people think this might be true, and they are FOMOing into Ripple, into XRP, just in case. And we have all this going on around XRP. There are a lot more news coming out the last like 2 weeks or so, but those are just two stories that struck my eye right now. Adding the 5th largest bank in the Southeast Asian region to RippleNet, which might potentially use XRP, and rumors that one of the biggest banks in the world might be looking at Ripple. Now, just think what these could mean for XRP in the long run. Now, even if the rumor with Bank of America is complete nonsense, like let's just ignore that, even though market sentiment around this has flared up. Let's just ignore that. Just adding another huge bank in Southeast Asia that is going to use RippleNet. And RippleNet now has, what, over 100 partners on it? And not all of them are using XRP. But the entire point of Ripple's business model is to get people on XRP in the long run. So any additional bank that joins here means that Ripple has more partners, means that Ripple has a bigger statute, means that more banks could potentially be using XRP or could be onboarded to XRP in the future. All of this means more legitimacy to Ripple and XRP. Now, if these banks are seeing good profits from using this, if they see an improvement over how they've been doing stuff before, that means other large banks are going to join RippleNet, might be using XRP, might be using XRapid. All of this is so promising for the future of XRP, and I think that is ultimately the core reason we don't see the XRP price drop as much as everything else. Because ultimately, these are separate communities, because XRP is going for a completely separate use case, for a completely different type of audience and adoption than most of the other cryptocurrencies. XRP, ultimately, it can be used by just you and me for normal transactions. That is perfectly within its capabilities. But ultimately, XRP is meant for the use by banks, by financial institutions, to make international liquidity, to make cross-border payments easier, faster, more secure, cheaper, more scalable. That is not what pretty much any of the other major coins is aiming for. So when the rest of the market, when the general sentiment around cryptocurrencies is dropping, a lot of that is due to the use cases and applications for most cryptocurrencies. XRP is unlike most cryptocurrencies. You can love it or you can hate it for that. And I understand when people do not like XRP. You don't have to keep telling me in the comments that you do or don't like XRP. I understand. I don't think we need to hate each other if you don't like it and if I like it. But I do understand your arguments. But just looking at what it means for the price and how the market treats XRP, it doesn't have to move along with everything else, because it's not a normal representative of cryptocurrencies as of right now. XRP is nearly completely unique among major cryptocurrencies. The only one where there are major similarities is Stellar Lumens, and maybe to a lesser degree Omiso Go. So, of course, there is good reason why it might not move along with everything else here. And why, while the markets are dropping, XRP could claw itself to number 2, get all the prestige and attention associated with that. And that is probably also helping with the price right now. It having finally clawed number 2 away from Ethereum means more people are paying attention, more people are hyped about XRP's future, which gives them even less incentive to sell. Now, once it hits 50 cents or something like that again, you will probably see a lot of people selling off to get their profits again. So we are absolutely going to see more price movement. We might even see more downwards price movement. But it is very much looking like XRP is establishing itself as an asset that can move completely independently from the rest of the cryptocurrency markets, and for good reasons. And with that, I'm gonna end this video. I'm gonna make at least one more video later today, so if you aren't interested in XRP or if you want to hear about other coins, don't worry, that is coming. As always, thank you so much for watching. All the links to the articles in the description. In the description you will also find ways to support this channel if you feel so inclined. That is always super appreciated, as well as my social media pages.